So I am not a huge supplement girly. I don't typically recommend a ton of supplements, but if I was going to recommend a few, creatine would be one of them. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Sweat Simple podcast. My name is Brooks Herbis, and I'm an online fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach who's here to help you simplify and make sense out of the all too confusing fitness and nutrition industry. Let's be real, there's a lot of conflicting information online, and it can be hard to know what's legit and who to trust. In every episode, I'll be sharing the science and psychology behind health, fitness, and long-lasting behavior change. But I'll also be sharing real-life practical application, because all of the best info in the world only matters if you can actually apply it to your real life. So grab a coffee, water, glass of wine, or lace up your walking shoes, and let's dive in. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Sweat Simple podcast. Today, I have a straight facts and science-based episode for you guys. I try to switch it up, some personal stories, some more mindset-based stuff, how to be more consistent, but this one is just straight facts. There is no getting around the science behind this, and we are talking all about creatine. Is creatine worth the hype? What you need to know? Because I feel like more and more creatine has become increasingly popular. It seems like everyone is talking about it. I get so many DMs. My clients are asking me, like, should I take this? Do I need this? Like, what even is this? And so I just wanted to do a episode that's going to break down, keep it in super simple terms. What is it? Do you need it? What you should consider, and what you should look for when you're actually buying it. And I want to start off this episode by saying, first things first on supplements. Supplements are, one, not magic, and two, supplements are never necessary. And if any coach, any fitness influencer is telling you that you have to order supplements, you need this supplement in order to cure X, Y, and Z, 9 times out of 10, they are just trying to sell you a product. I partner with a supplement company. I'm an affiliate for them, and I still am super honest about the fact that you don't need it. You don't need protein powder, which isn't even a supplement, but you can get your protein powder from Whole Foods. You like whole food sources, not the store. You definitely don't need any sort of, special supplements when it comes to fat loss. You don't need creatine. Like, you do not need supplements. If you are doing the basics, the things that are required of you, you don't need anything else in order to get results. Supplements in general, and I am talking about widely researched with proven benefit supplements. So we're not talking about apple cider vinegar. We're not talking about greens powders. We are talking about researched supplements. Those move the needle a tiny bit to help with performance. So if you are not already doing the foundations, the things that you need to do, they're not going to be super helpful. They will do something for you, of course, that's how they work, but if you're not already doing the things that you need to do, they're not really going to make some big changes. And even when you are doing the things that you need to do, it's just a tiny, tiny needle move. It's a tiny bit of extra assistance. So before you even consider creatine, I want you to ask yourself if you are doing these things. Number one, am I strength training consistently? And am I following a program that utilizes progressive overload? So am I likely doing the same exercises for 4 to 8 weeks at a time? And during that 4 to 8 week period, I am doing something to increase the stimulus on my muscles. Maybe it's adding weight, maybe it's adding reps, maybe it's increasing time under tension. Am I doing that? If I'm following random workouts, if I'm not, just showing up for like random classes, I'm not really strength training properly, and I probably don't need creatine. Number two, are you bringing intensity to your lifts and lifting heavy enough to stimulate muscle growth? If you are showing up to the gym, you're just going through the motions, you're breezing through your reps, on your final rep, you feel like you could do like 5 more, you feel like you're just kind of showing up to the gym to like check it off your to-do list, creatine isn't going to be all that helpful because you're already not maximizing your workouts and you're already not maximizing your strength and muscle growth potential. And number three, the third thing to consider is, are you eating adequate protein? Protein is key when it comes to building and maintaining muscle. Post-workout too, you want to make sure that you are getting a mix of protein and carbs. If you're not doing that already, start there before we start to consider creatine. So adequate protein for most people, it's going to be 0.7 grams to 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight. Make sure you're hitting that first. Make sure you are strength training consistently, following a program, and make sure that you are lifting with intensity before we consider creatine. Of course, you can still listen to the rest of this podcast if you aren't doing those things and still understand the benefits and when it might make sense for you, but make sure you check all those 3 boxes before we really consider adding a supplement. So what the heck is creatine? Most people don't realize this, but creatine is actually a naturally occurring compound that's already found in small amounts in certain food, but it's also produced by our bodies naturally. So if you're eating red meat, if you're eating eggs, if you're eating fish, you're getting some creatine. And then, like I said, our bodies also naturally produce it. So it's not something that we are adding and only ingesting. It's a naturally occurring compound. So yes, it's a supplement, but really when we're supplementing with it, we're just adding more to what we already have. And creatine is stored mostly in our muscles, and it's used as a quick energy source during those like short, intense spurts of activity. So when we're talking about the supplement form of creatine, we're typically talking about creatine monohydrate. It is one of the most well-researched and effective performance supplements available. So I am not a huge supplement girly. I don't typically recommend a ton of supplements, but if I was going to recommend a few, creatine would be one of them. It is, like I said, one of the most well-researched and most effective performance supplements that you could take. What does it actually do? How does creatine work? How does it work in our bodies? So at its base level, creatine helps to speed up ATP production and enables our bodies to replenish ATP more quickly. And ATP is the primary energy currency of cells, including our muscle cells, and it's essential for muscle contraction and then also building muscle. So to put it in an analogy form, think of ATP like the gas your muscles use when you do anything intense. So things like lifting weights or even sprinting. And every time you move, your body uses a little bit of gas, a little bit of ATP. And once it's used, your body has to make more in order to keep going. And that is really where creatine comes in. So creatine helps your body refill its gas tank faster. So it gives your muscles what they need to make ATP more quickly so that you can push a little bit harder in your workouts, you can recover more quickly. And because of both of those things, you can build strength and you can build muscle more easily. So basically, when you take creatine, your muscles have more energy to work with, which leads to better results over time. And when we look at the main benefits, the main reason you would take it, it's because it's helping you build more muscle and get stronger, because it allows you to lift heavier weights for more reps, which gives your muscles more stimulus to grow. It increases the water content of your muscle cells, which again promotes muscle growth in a few different ways. Creatine can improve anaerobic endurance. It can enhance recovery because it really helps to reduce muscle cell damage and then inflammation after exercise, which could possibly speed up recovery. And this is newer, but there are some studies that are showing that there are possible cognitive benefits to taking creatine as well. So around like brain health and cognitive function. Again, that is like a very new area, so I don't want to tap into that a ton. The main reason I would assume that most of you would be taking creatine is to help with muscle growth and strength. So how much do you need to be effective? Really, you want to be supplementing with 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate per day. That's what's really optimal. You don't have to take it right after your workouts. You don't have to take it before your workouts. You just have to take it. So 3 to 5 grams is fantastic. There has been some research to show that for women, it takes about 30 days of consistently supplementing with creatine before you start to see the benefits. Do with that what you will, don't expect to see like immediate results with it potentially, but what typically is shown is just 3 to 5 grams per day consistently is where you're going to get the most benefits. So what should you be looking for when you buy this supplement? There are so many different supplements on the market. How do you know what is going to be effective, what is going to be worth your money? And the good thing about creatine monohydrate is it's pretty inexpensive. So if you see something that's like really expensive, could be a red flag that it has more stuff than you need, or it's just like a quick money grab. So like I said, we want to be looking for creatine monohydrate specifically. This is the gold standard of creatine. This is the one that is most well researched. You might see other companies promoting like micronized creatine. You don't need it. Creatine monohydrate is great. You also want to look for something that is third-party tested. So look for brands that are tested for purity, safety, and really making sure that you don't have a ton of like hidden fillers or other contaminants. And then you don't want a lot of extra junk in it. Like you want to look for basically just creatine monohydrate, and that's it. You don't want a ton of sweeteners, a ton of dyes. If it says proprietary blend, probably stay away. That just means they don't have to disclose how much of anything they're actually putting into it. So just look for basic, simple. That's what you want when it comes to supplements in general, but specifically the creatine. My favorite creatine, like I said, I partner with Legion Athletics. I will link my affiliate code below for you guys if you want to try it. My code is Sweat Simple. Their creatine gummies are really good. I love them, the blue raspberry ones. And it feels just it's just like an easy way to get the creatine in instead of like mixing it into the drink. I will give the disclosure, Michael tried one. He said it tasted a little bit chalky. I have not experienced that. I don't taste the chalk at all, but maybe take it with a grain of salt. You can also get creatine in like the powder form and just like mix it into your drink. So like I said, I like Legion. They check all the boxes that I listed above. So if you want to go with that, great. If you want to go with another company that checks all these boxes, that would be great too. But now let's talk about some of these myths, because when creatine is discussed, these myths come up a lot. So myth number 1, it causes bloating or water retention. And I mentioned this earlier in the podcast, but creatine does draw water into your muscles. So technically that can be water retention. And it's why sometimes after you start taking it, you'll see an initial spike in the scale. But this is really similar to if you had a really intense workout and your muscles are retaining more water in order to recover. It's the same thing. It's just doing it to a higher degree. And this initial water retention, it usually levels out within a few weeks. So don't let this fear of the scale spike hold you back from taking creatine if you think it's something that would be really helpful for you. Know that it's normal, know that you should expect it, and also know that it is just water. Myth number 2, this will help you grow muscle immediately. No, unfortunately not. Number 1, if we are not doing all those things we already talked about, this will not just immediately make our muscles grow. Creatine just supports muscle growth because it can lead to that greater muscle stimulation when you're lifting, but the creatine alone does not cause muscle growth. So if we are not properly strength training, we are not already lifting to intensity, creatine isn't going to do all that much for us. That's why it's so important to make sure that we are checking all of those boxes needed to grow muscle and improve strength in general before we add this additional supplement. So the third myth is you need a special brand formulated for women. No, again, this is probably just, what is it called? Pink marketing or pink label marketing? I can't remember. The pink tax. Yeah, that's it. So, no, we don't need the pink tax on creatine. Creatine in women is the same as creatine in men. Would you ever go and order a special female steak or get special female eggs? No, if you want to do that with food, you don't need a different creatine supplement. And in fact, it may actually be more helpful. Creatine may actually be more helpful for women than men because we typically have naturally lower stores of creatine than men do. So we don't need anything special. We don't, need anything separate. You can use the same great creatine that any other guy would use. And don't feel like creatine is only for bodybuilders. Don't feel like if you start taking it, you're going to all of a sudden become like super ripped and bulky and be this like giant bodybuilder. That's not true. Like I said, it's just going to move the needle a little bit. So it's just going to give you that extra little oomph. So if you want to build a little bit more muscle, if you want to get a little bit stronger, if you feel like maybe you've plateaued in strength, and you're having a hard time like increasing reps or increasing weight, adding creatine could be a great way to combat that and to build a little bit more strength, grow a little bit more muscle, without needing to make a ton of shifts or adjustments in the gym. So don't feel like it's going to make you like bulk up. Creatine is not a steroid. It's not going to, do something like that. It is a naturally occurring compound in our body in some foods, and it's just going to help you move the needle a little bit. So just to summarize, creatine, again, one of the most well-researched supplements, and it does have proven benefits, including helping you grow muscle, get stronger. But just remember, it's not a magic pill. You still got to have the basics down, like strength training. You got to have your recovery down, and you got to be eating adequate protein. But if you have any more questions on creatine, please feel free to shoot me a DM, drop me an email. I'd love to talk about it further with you. But at the end of the day, this is always your decision. I am just here to give you the information, give you the science, give you the facts so that you can make a more well-informed decision about what's going to work best for your life. So let me know if you have any questions so to help you make that decision for yourself. But ultimately, it's a personal decision. Only you know what's going to be right for your body and your progress. So thank you guys so much for being here. As always, don't forget, I pick that person every single month who leaves a review or shares this in their stories to win a free health and fitness audit with me every month. So take a quick screenshot, share it to your stories, tag me so I can see it, and you will be entered to win, or drop a review, rate on Apple